guys, welcome to my channel. It is Christian here. Thank you so much for joining me today. So today is the second day of dupe week here on my channel. Yesterday I would have posted the haul from Shop Hush, and then this week we're going to go over a bunch of my favorite dupes that maybe I haven't heard anybody talk about yet. And then of course there will be maybe some dupe palettes that you have already seen here, but this is going to be an entire week of affordable dupes for super high-end makeup. More than likely everything is going to be from Shop Hush, but if I go through my collection and find some other dupes, we'll talk about those as well. Really quickly, I want to say Happy New Year. I am filming this video in 2017. There's only a couple of days left of 2017, which I cannot get my head wrapped around. And this video will probably go up January 1st or maybe January 2nd, probably the 2nd. So I'm so excited to start my channel off with a bang. I really hope that you enjoy dupe week. And yeah, you guys, I am going to go ahead and get started. We're going to jump right into the video. But before I get into the video, I do want to mention that in my last two videos that I had posted, because they were pre-recorded and you guys noticed the autofocus on my lens, I did purchase a new lens and I was not aware that the autofocus situation would be happening to where you would be able to hear it on video. But I went out and I purchased I had a shotgun mic, which was a mic that went above the camera, and I just purchased a new mic that is kind of sitting off to the side, so hopefully that will eliminate the issue altogether, and hopefully that will also make my audio a lot better as well. So let me know down in the comments below what you guys think. Do you enjoy the new lens? Do you prefer the old one? I kind of like the new lens. I think it's a lot more crisp. It makes the picture look a lot more clear as well. But anyways, you guys are not here to talk about my lenses. So I hope you were safe in the new year. I hope you were safe on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Thank you so much for spending 2 years with me on my channel. My 2-year anniversary is on YouTube is coming up very soon. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below, especially if you are interested in all of the dupes to come. And yeah, you guys, let's go ahead and just get started. Okay, so first I want to start by saying I do have the dupe palette on one eye and I do have the high-end palette on the other eye. The dupe palette retails for less than $20. I purchased 2 palettes for 24 bucks. The other palette I will be talking about tomorrow, and the palette that it's up against is $129. So today we are going to be talking about the Natasha Denona Lila palette. Is it Lila or Lila? You guys let me know. We're going to be talking about this $129 eyeshadow palette. And this is what it looks like on the inside. I don't think I ever filmed a dedicated video to this particular palette on my channel, but today we're duping it out, y'all. So here it is right here, 15 shades, a mixture of mattes, chroma crystals, all that good stuff that Natasha Denona has. I love Natasha Denona shadows. I love her formulation, but she is pricey. This palette retails for $129. And just really quickly, so you guys can get a look at the packaging. And today we're going to be putting this palette up against a palette that I purchased from Shop Hush, which again, less than 20 bucks. It is by the brand, I believe this is Bad Habit. Yeah, this is by the brand Bad Habit, and this is their Supernova palette. Again, this guy retails for less than $20. And let's go ahead and open it up. 15 shades in here as well. You're going to get a mixture of mattes and shimmers, whereas Natasha Denona has several different formulations. Her chrome crystals, her mattes, her duochromes. This palette doesn't necessarily have the spectrum of different eyeshadow formulations that the Natasha Denona palette has, but it performs amazing. They are exact dupes, and this is a good palette. I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there for you right now. It is an excellent dupe, and I think it's really great. So really quickly, I do have both of these eyeshadow palettes on my eyes today. One is the high end, one is the low end, and you definitely, in my opinion, cannot tell the difference whatsoever. So really quickly, because some of the palettes on Shop Hush, when I say are identical dupes, I will link my Tarte palette review up in the card somewhere, and you can see that palette, down to the layout, the color names, everything about that palette was identical. Even the name of the palette was extremely similar. Now this palette, in comparison to these two palettes in comparison to one another, the colors are in different orders and they do have different names. So they did try to change it up a little bit as compared to some other dupes where you can find on Shop Hush where they are absolutely identical. So to start with, I'm gonna go ahead and do kind of like a little bit of a close-up on both of these palettes so you can kind of see what they look like in comparison to one another. identical, you guys. And I have to say, the quality of this eyeshadow palette is really, really good. One thing that I will mention is I test out each one of the dupe palettes for several days. I wear, even to work, I have been wearing one eye with the dupe palette, one eye with the regular palette, just to kind of see if anybody looks at me crazy and kind of notices a difference between my eyeshadows. Nobody has ever picked up a difference. Nobody has ever said, hey, your eyeshadows look a little bit different. None of my friends, and I do have friends and I do have family that would tell me the truth, you guys, and nobody has picked up on it. So when I say identical, they are identical. There are a couple of colors in this palette versus the Natasha Denona that in the pan look a little bit different, but swatch, they are almost the same. I would say that this is like a 99.9% dupe based off of color selection. The formulations are a little bit different. The first ingredient in the Bad Habit palette is talc, and the Natasha Denona palettes do not carry talc at all. Their first ingredient on almost all of their eyeshadows is mica. And I did notice, I looked at the ingredients a little bit. There are ingredients that are the same throughout the palette, but they are in completely different orders. There are ingredients in the Natasha Denona palette that aren't in the Bad Habit palette and vice versa. So they are definitely completely different formulations of eyeshadows, but the Bad Habit palette does perform exceptionally well. So if you have zero interest in spending $129 on an eyeshadow palette, this guy will get it 100% done for you. Natasha Denona has 4 different types of shadows that kind of have become her signature. It's either 4 or 5. It's chroma crystals, creamy mattes, duochromes, and her metallics. With the 2 newer palettes, her Sunset palette and her Lila palette, or is it Lila? I'm not sure. She has definitely perfected her chroma crystals because they used to be a lot more chunky and a little bit heavier on the eye. Now they are a lot more smooth. They are a lot more high shine, very pigmented, and they don't crumble the way that they used to in her original palette. To my eye, I've only noticed 2 different formulations of eyeshadows in here. You have your matte, the more regular standard metallics in this particular palette. I don't really notice a difference from one metallic to another whenever they apply on the eye. There are a couple of shadows that in the pan definitely look a little bit more, I don't want to say glittery because none of them have outright glitter, but I guess I would say maybe a little bit more, they would look a little bit more high shine. So let me go ahead and give you another close-up, and I will do close-up swatches of these guys as well. Natasha Denona's palette has 4 mattes. This palette has 4 mattes. The mattes in this particular palette are Interstellar, Zenith, Celestial, and Lunar. The matte in Natasha Denona's palette, let's grab it here, are Nude Vino. You have Nude Mauve right here. You have, where's the other one? And then you have, I believe that's Per Se. Really quickly, we're gonna do some side-by-side comparisons. I will do up-close swatches of both palettes. So just so you can kind of get an idea, let's go ahead and do a couple of up-close swatches. So let's go ahead and take Nude Vino from the Natasha Denona palette. So that is Nude Vino from the Natasha Denona palette here. And then the dupe in the Supernova palette would be Interstellar, which is this guy right here in the corner, Interstellar. So that is the dupe from the Shop Hush palette right here. So then you have your Natasha Denona shadow right here. And you guys can, I mean, they look identical. I will say that I feel that the Natasha Denona mattes are just a slight bit more creamy and a little bit more blendable, and they are a little less powdery. I don't know if you can see that right there. The Bad Habit palette does pick up a little bit more dust in the pan than the, let's go right here, than the Natasha Denona palette does. You can see that there is absolutely no kick up from my particular swatch, but they blend out beautifully. And like I mentioned, the Natasha Denonas are creamier to the touch and they are a little bit easier to blend on the eye, but the Bad Habit palette has, it doesn't skip, it doesn't look powdery on the eye. It blends really, really well, but I just feel like I had to spend a couple, maybe an extra couple seconds blending the Bad Habit palette, whereas the Natasha Denona shadows practically blend themselves. Let's go ahead and take the shade Magnolia from the Natasha Denona palette. And I don't know if you guys can see, but it definitely is a little bit more of a chunkier shadow, but it blends effortlessly into the skin, like beautifully, beautifully, beautifully. And the pigmentation lasts for days. Natasha Denona's Chroma Crystal shadows, in my opinion, do perform a little bit better with the finger than the eye. The warmth of your finger just really, 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 I know I said 18 really, so it must be true. And it gives you, I think, the best color payout. I did use brushes on both eyes. I didn't apply anything with my finger. And you can, like I mentioned, can you tell the difference? I am going to tell you in just a second. So I'm gonna go ahead and take Cosmo, which would be the dupe from the Bad Habit Supernova palette. And you can see this one does pick up a little bit of a chunk as well. In the palette, you can definitely see a little bit of fallout happening in the palette, but the Natasha Denona one does the exact same thing. The Natasha Denona shadow, again, is a little bit creamier, a little bit smoother. And I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about. So that is the dupes right here. This is the Bad Habit palette, the Supernova. I don't know if it's picking up on camera, but you can see that there is a little bit more like flakiness and a little bit of excess extra shadow left over from the actual swatch itself, but it does blend effortlessly. Again, the pigmentation also on these particular shadows lasts for absolute days. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and insert me swatching all of the shadows up close. We're gonna swatch the Natasha Denona palette in full, and then we're gonna do the dupes side by side as well, so you guys can get a closer look. And I'll go ahead and insert that footage now. I am also gonna quickly say I did also get a little bit of a new setup for my up close swatches as well. So let me know down in the comment section what you think about that. And this is gonna be the first time I'm testing out that setup as well, and I would like you guys' feedback. I just really quickly want to say that when it comes to dupes, I think that Bad Habit, there are a couple of different brands on Shop Hush that make these like for like dupes. I definitely think that Shop Hush is becoming, you know, the American more makeup revolution, because I know that Makeup Revolution is a lot bigger in like Europe and things like that, and they have excellent dupes. But I will say that when it comes to like Bad Habit, and I think the other brand is Oakland, which we'll probably be talking about later in the week, I think they do an excellent job. Of course, Natasha Denona. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention. You do definitely get more product in the Natasha Denona palette. $129 versus $20 more product. That's going to be up for you to decide. I have recommended Natasha Denona on my channel probably since I tested her out about a year ago, because I think that the quality of the shadows are absolutely outstanding. I have very rarely felt an eyeshadow that I think is better. In my personal opinion, I mean, she stepped up her game with every palette release. I think it gets a little bit better. I think her products become, in my opinion, a little bit more worth the money with every palette that she does release. Now, if you're not interested in $129, but you love these colors, if you love a little bit more of a cool tone palette, because this palette definitely does, both of these palettes definitely do lean on the cool tone side. The look that I created today is also very cool tone. 90% of the looks that I have created from these palettes are cool tone looks. So if you're on the market for a cool tone palette, if you don't want to spend Natasha Denona money on an eyeshadow palette, this palette will get the job done. You will be satisfied with it. In my opinion, you will be happy with it. Of course, I know that some people aren't really big on, you know, talc in their eyeshadow, so that is one thing to keep in mind. But other than that, if that's not a concern to you, I say go for it. The only issue that you run into with Shop Hush is the fact that their stuff sells out super fast, and you always kind of have to be watching it, and you have to be on the lookout for it. I noticed this palette probably a while ago, probably a couple weeks ago, and I intended to do these videos, you know, way in advance, and they were in stock for quite a while, but I think that people are starting to realize, hey, I've got dupes on my hand for Natasha Denona, and they're starting to sell out, and they're starting to be a little bit harder to keep in stock. So the next time that palette comes in stock, you want to grab it. I say that this is an excellent palette to get your hands on for a very affordable price, and you will absolutely love it. I'm still trying to fight this cold, so my voice is coming and going, but I'm going to go ahead and let you know. The eyeshadow on this eye is Natasha Denona. The eyeshadow on this is the Supernova Bad Habit palette, and they look absolutely identical. I don't care how close I get into a mirror, how much I look, how much I try to find differences and notice differences. On the eye, they look the same. Application might be a smidget different. The Natasha Denona shadows might be a little bit easier to use, but you're gonna get the same end result. So I definitely say that this is an out of the park, excellent dupe. Go ahead and download the Shop Hush app, because they definitely restock their app site a little bit more than their actual website. So yeah, you guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope that you are excited about dupe week. We have dupes from Anastasia Beverly Hills. We have more dupes from Natasha Denona. We've got Kat Von D dupes this week. Hopefully I'm able to film all 5 days, Monday through Friday, of all of these particular dupes, because I'm excited, if you cannot tell. And yeah, you guys, before I head out, I just quickly want to say, don't forget to subscribe if you have not already. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.